So here we are, day 30. And well, actually, it's the 31st of July. It's the end of July. How far did I get with my little experiment? Well, I managed to complete two tops, the bubblegum top and my green sage top, which I called the comfort top. I started out with following a pattern on that one and tore it out about 3 times, or pulled it out, and finally just kind of improvised and ended up with a top, which I'm not 100% satisfied with, but it was a good run. And I used the split. I love this cotton, and it's working well. And that has led me to think that I'm going to go to Cheektowaga and load up on I love this cotton from Hobby Lobby, come over the border, pay whatever tariffs and stuff I have to pay, just because I want a good supply of that product. So I find also that knitting with a similar wool, for example, I've used the Cascade merino wool on this, a DK, and it is a real pleasure to knit with. And I've used this type of wool, a merino DK wool yarn, many times. And after a while, you get to know the basics of what's good for you. This is 202 stitches on this needle. And in this case, this is 180 something stitches on here. And I know that if I put on, the basics for me are the casting on a certain number of stitches, working from the bottom up, 16 inches. You probably heard all this before. That's okay in previous videos. But I keep harping on the basics. If you know some basic things about yourself, you can buy yarn anywhere, any place, and come home with a stash of yarn, 4 or 5 skeins of yarn, and knit up a top or sweater or whatever. So I'm doing that with these. Had trouble following the summer sole pattern just because I had difficulty getting the size to work. First it was too small, I took it back. Then it was a little bit too big and I took it back. And the third time was not too bad. And then I just started improvising and knitting up the way that I knew to knit. And it's good. Okay, so the white top, I didn't make progress on it. I will eventually, because it's a lot more involved with the lace knitting. And I have knitted up before in red, but I didn't like that particular color of red on me because it's not really one of my colors. I need a sort of a burgundy berry red as opposed to an orange red. So, but I did start 2 other projects and I'm into stripes. And then I had to figure out how to do the jogless stripes. So I'm working away on this. This is good. I'm going to share how to do the jogless stripes. My marker is, whoops, where's my marker? I think I'm right at my marker. I am. So this is my marker here. So that means that everywhere when I change colors, it's in this line here. And see how it just fits nice? It's working. So, and the blue one as well, the blue and white. Again, here's my line of demarcation, my line where I've changed my colors. Now, this looks a little bit more wonky because it knits up sort of bumpy. You see that? But all that will fall in place when it's blocked. See if I can get this on my other hand. Whereas this one knits up a little bit more smooth. So this is 100% cotton. I love this cotton. Split in 2. This is just a merino DK. This is the Cascade yarns, and I've used them quite a bit. And that's another point, and that is that if you get used to working with a certain kind of yarn, you are actually going to get a better fit because you know how it's going to behave, what's going to happen with it, how much it's going to stretch when you block it. I did get a big surprise on my bubblegum top because it stretched. When I blocked it, it stretched quite a bit. So I didn't do swatches for these because I know what I'm doing. So in summary, It was great doing a 30-day experiment. I had a lot of fun doing it. I feel like I learned some things, and I hope you did too. And I so appreciate you sticking around and watching, and hopefully you were inspired a little bit. And I appreciate the new subscribers that joined on during this 30-day trial. No, no, it wasn't a trial. No, challenge, yes. And and I just enjoy knitting. So I feel kind of strange if I've gone through a day without knitting. So I figured, why didn't I just bring you along? And I did. So I will let you know when I finish these striped tops. I'm guessing within the next couple of weeks. And in the meantime, the Jogless join. This is the easiest one ever, really. I tried one and tried another, had some success with the other, which I'll explain in my videos that I'm going to add on to here. And then it turned out the easiest one was in one of the old knitting books that I have. One little paragraph said it all. And really, this is the easiest. So stay tuned and see the Jogless knitting. The Jogless join. Here I am coming to the end of my row, and I am going to switch colors. So I move my marker, insert my needle into the next spot, and bring my color over, insert it on, and I knit as normal. But now what I want to do is I want to pick up the old color, which is the blue, and I'm going to snip that off. Get my scissors. Give myself a good healthy tail there. Snip it off, and I'm going to weave it in the new with the new, in behind the new. So my fingers are not very moist here. I'm having difficulty getting my threads in order. There we go. So you do want to snug up the old color so that there's no gap in this spot. So I take the old color in my left hand. I've got the new on, and I just knit as normal and just pull in a little bit on the old color. I'm going to weave it in, so it's going to go over my finger or my needle like that, and I bring my white around and only bring the white strand through. Later on I will weave in the tail of the white. That will be in the next round. So then I knit. And then weaving in the blue strand. And the next one anchors it in. And I do this for about 10 stitches. Now, what I do is I'll just give it a little snug along here, and it just brings it in a little bit. And that way you can prevent having a hole when you change colors. And then I just continue on the row, knitting as normal. And when I get to the end of this new color row, I'll show you the little technique. It's really simple. It's the easiest and most successful technique for jogless joining that I've been able to find and currently using. So I will just show you the marker. That's where all my joins have been down through here. And you can see they're pretty, it's fairly straight. Nice, eh? And that's what you want. So I'll show you when I get to the end of the row, come back over here, I'll show you what to do. So here I am coming around to the end of that first row. Try to keep my hands in the camera here. Then I'll move my marker. Now, what I'm going to do is, this is how I put it. You lift the leg of the previous stitch and you bring it up in behind so that the new color is on the left and the old color is on the right. And you knit those two together. Am I getting that? There we go. And then just snug it in a little bit again. This is the tail of the new yarn new color when I added it. Now I'm going to weave that in. So give it a little snug and weave it in and continue knitting, and that's it. It's kind of easy, isn't it? Now, to look at it, you might think, oh no, it's not going to work. But when you come around to the next row, it will work. And don't forget, if you have one of these, click it so I'm reminded that I'm on row 2. I've found that different yarns have a different feel to them. And this merino, this is Cascade Yarns Merino, it has a great feel to it. It's a pleasure to knit with. Now the cotton yarn that I'm knitting with, it's a little bit more difficult. But I love this merino yarn. So once again, I'm coming to the end of round 2. And what do? You knit as normal. There's nothing else left to do. You just continue on. Now let's look at that join. See how it's working? Just like all the others. See how the Jogless joins have worked so well? Shows up really good with this dark and light contrast. And I've been using the same technique. Now, honestly, I started with a different technique, and this is what's happened. I get these little, where I felt like either I'm doing something wrong or this is just not the best technique. I had that happen to me twice, but it didn't happen here. So whatever I was doing with these 3 rows, it was a different technique altogether, and it worked once for me. So, but then I found out about this other technique in an old knitting book that I have. I should have looked there first. And it just comes out seamless. It's great. This looks a little bit different because I pulled the threads tight in the back. I haven't clipped off my threads that I've woven in, but here's the weaving in. And the reason this shows up a little bit different is because I pulled that weaving in thread a little bit too tight. So I will not do that. See, I didn't do that over here. And anyway, it's turning out really nice. Another suggestion was moving your marker on one stitch each time you do that. I'm not sure the advantage of that, but here we are, the Jogless join. Once again, I want to thank everybody for joining in and continue watching because you never know what kind of adventures are coming up with knitting, where you might be inspired, where you might figure out like I used to do that and now I know how to fix it. So, cheers everybody.